In this demo, we are going to cover basic things about the CCNA. Okay, so we are offering CCNA course, right? And in this particular course, we are going to teach you Cisco router and switches. Okay, and that would be equivalent to CCNA certification exam. That would be helping on CCNA certification exam. So if we talk about the course, so this is CCNA stand for Cisco Certified Network Associate course. Okay, so you can say this is the medium level of the certification. And if you want to pass the exam, so yeah, you have to register for the exam in the Pearson View Center, and the exam code for the CCNA routing and switching is the 200-301. The exam duration would be 120 minutes. Okay, so it is 2 hours exam, and the cost of the exam is $300. Number of question would be around 100 to 120, and passing score, okay, maximum it is 850. That's the passing score. I mean, minimum this is 850, but sometimes it's vary between 800 to 850 out of thousands. Okay, if we talk about certification program, so if you just want to pursue your career in Cisco, okay, so you can start from entry level, that is CCT, Cisco Certified Technician. Then you can go for associate level, that is a CCNA, and then you can go for professional level, that is CCNP, and finally you can go for the expert level, that is CCIE. So these are the career path basically. So these are the top certification, and you can go for there. Okay, but for CCNA, if you just want to pursue the CCNA, so there is no prerequisite. You can just go and you can pursue for the CCNA exam. But if you want to go for CCNP, so first you should have a CCNA. And similarly, if you just want to go for CCIE, so you should have a prerequisite, that is CCNP. But if you want to just pass CCNA only, so you can just directly register for this particular paper code into Pearson View Center, and you would be able to, if you pass, you would get the CCNA certification. Moving to next one, if we talk about what are the course content we have in the CCNA, or we can say the domain. So total there are 6 domain. Okay, network fundamental, network access, IP connectivity, IP services, security fundamental, automation and programmability. So these are the 6 domain we have. Okay, and you can see the top domain are IP connectivity. From IP connectivity, you would get 25% of question. From network fundamental, you would be getting 20% question. From network access, this domain, okay, you are going to get 20% of the question. From IP services, there will be 10% of the question, and from security fundamental, there will be 15% of the question, and from automation and programmability, there will be 10% of the question. Okay, if you just want to know more about that, what would be covered in each section, so you can basically go to the Cisco website. This is the Cisco website, and here you can get information that what would be the cover in each sections. So let me just go one by one. Okay, if we talk about network fundamentals, so here we are going to learn basic things, how network is going to function, what is router, what is layer 2, layer 3 switches, what is next generation firewall, what is IPS. Okay, then we are going to talk about the 2-tier, 3-tier technology, spine leaf topology, WAN topology, okay, small office topology. Okay, so this is what we are going to cover in a network fundamental. So this is very important because this is making your fundamental strong. Okay, now if we talk about next network access, so here we are talking about what is the VLAN, how network is being accessed through the switches, what is the native VLAN, how to configure trunk port, what is the root port. So here we are talking about most about the switches. Okay, and post that we will talk about WLAN, wireless controller. Okay, APWLC. About these things we are going to talk about, and then we will talk about radius and TACA services. After that, We will go for the next one where we will talk about IP connectivity, and here you would see that here majorly we are covering routing part. So in routing, we are going to cover what is the routing protocol code, okay, what are the routing protocol, what is their administrative distance, what is the preferred routing. So all those things we are going to cover here in routing IP connectivity basically. Then we have IP services. So here we are talking about DSCP, NAT services, okay, policy-based routing, etc. So we will cover here everything related to IP services. So NAT, DNS, DSCP, these belongs to IP services. So how we can configure as a router to perform NAT, okay, how we can configure router to perform as a DSCP, how we can configure router to define the DNS IP, etc. So those things we are going to cover here in IP services. Then we will go for the security fundamental. This is again very important if you want to know that what is threat vulnerabilities, exploit, how network is being exploited, okay, what are the common mechanism to attack over the network, okay, how to prevent your network. So all these things we are going to cover here on the security fundamental. And post that we will go and we will learn about the automation. So basically we will see here on the router, instead of executing the command, how you can use API, application programming interface, to configure router. So let's say you have 100 of router and you just want to configure them with one go. So using programming, this is very possible. So you can use API, okay. We have a REST API that is supported by the router. Okay, so you can use it and you can configure your router. So nowadays, this is the world for the automation. Okay, most of the human effort is going to replace using automation. Okay, so we will learn here how you can do the automation for the configuring of router or switches or any other network devices. So this is about the syllabus. If you have any question, please let me ask me. All right, no questions. So moving to further. Okay, so why we should learn a CCNA? I mean, why should we go for the CCNA certification? So guys, we have different network devices, okay, and these network devices help to create a network, okay, or help in the communication from one system to another system. So whether this is over the LAN or over the WAN, but these network devices are going to help for the communication. So let's say you have some server in your network and those server want internet connectivity, okay, or intranet connectivity. So how you would configure your network so that the server which is placed in a specific subnet should be able to reach to other subnet without any network loop, okay. So how you can create a loop free network. So this is why what we cover in CCNA. We will cover here how we can do the networking on the router level, how we can do the networking on switches level, okay, how we can define the best route on the router. So all those configuration we will see here on network. So if we talk about network, so network, what is the network? When you are joining a computer, okay, in order to share the data or information, so that kind of structure is known as a network. So in network, you would have a multiple component. You would have a switch, you would have a router, you would have a firewall, IDS, IPS, etc. So these are the devices which is providing network connectivity and network security. So here we are going to discuss all of them in CCNA course, right? So this is what CCNA. So without wasting any time, let's go further and let's talk about the demo. So basically, if you just want to perform any lab in of CCNA, so how you can do that? Basically, we offer our labs. You can use our labs, okay, by going to labs.netminion.com. Okay, so this you can access over the internet, and this is 24/7 available. So you can use it. Okay, so we have different lab, you can use it. For example, let's say I just open this particular lab, which is just related to network. Okay, so you can access our lab devices. Okay, or if you just want to perform your own lab, so basically you can use EVNG software where you can create your own lab. Okay, since I'm on local network, so I'm running here EVNG. This is our local server, so I'm able to access it. Or you can use Cisco Packet Tracer. This is a simulator software, so you can use this software as well to perform your CCNA practicals. Okay, so you have multiple way where whatever the suitable for you, you can use it. Okay, basically we provide lab access with this particular course to you. Right, so let's do the configuration here. I would do a basic configuration in this system. You can see here I have a lab, and in this lab we have two router. Okay, 1 and 2 router, and we have network segment. This is one network segment and this is another network segment. So what I just want to make that this Windows system should be able to communicate to this particular system, okay, via router. So communication should go via this way, right? So for that, what I'm just going to do, I'm just going to configure basic things over here, and will enable the routing between this router and this router. So whenever this system is going to generate the traffic go to this router. Router is going to look that what is the destination IP, and based on the destination IP, this router is going to route the traffic towards the this router number 2, and then router number 2 is sending that traffic to the back to the LAN. Okay, so here I would use routing protocol. Basically, routing protocol are the protocol which is defining the best route, selecting the best route. So I'm just using EIGRP is one of the routing protocol. Okay, and we'll configure here routing protocol so that they can exchange their network information to each other. And whenever the packet is being generated by any segment of the PC, it should be able to exchange. Right, so let me just show you how it is working. Let me clear this. So first of all, I'm just going to assign IP. So for this system, what IP I would take, let me just tell you. For this Windows system, I'm going to take 192.168.1.2. For this interface, I would use 192.168.1.1. This is /24/24. This is the IP. And for this segment, I would use around 172.16.1.1. This side, on this side, I would use 172.16.1.2. For this interface, I would use 10.0.0.1/24. And for this segment, I would use 10.0.0.2/24. So this is IP I would use. Default gateway for this Windows system would be this IP, and default gateway for this VPC system would be this IP. Right, so guys, don't worry if you don't understand about the default, what is the default gateway and what is the routing protocol. So we are going to cover that thing deep into the course. Okay, but for demo, I'm just going to show you that how routing works, how dynamic routing protocol, learn route. So all those things we are going to cover here. So let me just take the snapshot of this, and we'll configure the things accordingly. So I have just taken the snapshot, and now let's go and let's configure it. All right, so I'm just going to configure it. Let us start from router. This is my first router. Okay, this is not configured, so I'm just going to configure it now. And going to configure this gig interface as we had decided that what would be the configuration of the gig interface. So gig 0/0 of this router enable config. So using command you can configure, and using GUI as well you can configure. So I'm just using command and I'm just going to configure it. So interface gig 0/0. I'm on interface gig 0/0. Let's assign the IP address. So IP address is a command to assign the IP address 192.168.1.1, and subnet mask is 255.255.255.0. No shut. Duplex full. Similarly, I would go and configure gig 0/1. Gig 0/1. And for this interface, I'm just going to assign IP address 172.16.1.1 and subnet mask 255.255.255.0. No shut. Then, yeah, on this router configuration has been done so far. Let me just save this configuration. Let's go to other router and let's configure that as well. So I'm just going to close it. I'm going on other router. I'm just going to configure this one as well according to this picture. So this is another router. Let's configure this one. Enable config space t int space gig 0/1. So this side I'm configuring IP address 172.16.1.2 and subnet mask would be 255.255.255. Okay, so this command I have run, IP address no shut int space gig 0/0. Let's assign IP to this one as well. IP address 10.0.0.1 and subnet mask 255.255.255.0. Space gig 0/0. No shut. Duplex full. And save this to WR. Okay, so first router and second router IP address has been configured. Now I would go to this PC, Windows machine, and would assign IP to this one as well. So let me just go there, assign the IP to this PC. Okay, so here is network configuration. I can open it and then I can configure the IP. We'll configure our IP to this machine according to defined picture. I mean defined snapshot. So here is the snapshot. For PC, we had decided that 192.168.1.2 IP. So 192.168.1.2 is the IP here. Subnet mask would be 255. And what is the default gateway? We had decided that the router IP would be default gateway. All right. Now I would go to another machine, which is this one. And for this system as well, I would assign IP 10.0.0.2/24 and gateway would be gateway would be 10.0.0.1. So I'm just assigning IP according to this picture. Okay, 10.0.0.2. And now these machine would be able to ping each gateway. For example, if I start ping to this device, okay, on gig 0/0, so I should be able to ping. So let me just try from here. Ping, let's ping gateway 10.0.0.1. Yes, I'm able to ping. Similarly, if I go to Windows machine and try to ping gateway, CMD ping 192.168.1.1, I'm able to ping. Okay, that means the communication between my Windows machine to this router is fine, and from this PC to router is fine. Now let's check whether these PC can ping each other directly without configuring any routing. Yeah, Mohammed, please ask the question.
How are you? This lab, it's virtual.
This is virtual, yes.
How can you use this, please?
You can access this using this rack, labs.netminion.net. You have to register first, and then you would get access to this lab. You can try to access it.
Okay, can you sharing the?
Yeah, this is the link.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, but we will configure your access once you register yourself. So we will configure it. Okay, and if you have already registered, so not an issue. Our technical team would configure your access.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. All right, so moving here, let me just tell you how we can configure routing over here so that they can exchange the routes information. So on this router we have two subnet. One subnet is LAN side, other is WAN side, and similarly on this router we have two subnet. So if they exchange their subnet to each other, okay, so our problem would get solved. So I'm just going to enable EIGRP so that they can share the subnet of each other. So to enable the EIGRP, I need to run the command. This is EIGRP is a dynamic routing protocol which would exchange the routes dynamically. That means if there is any network down, so it would remove that network from the routes, and if the routing table, and if there is any network up, so that would add that network into the routing table. So this is a basic job of EIGRP, which would be doing a best path selection. So let me just go and configure EIGRP for router. So IP router space EIGRP space 100. So this is 100 is our autonomous system. So we need to make sure that their autonomous system should be same. And then we can add network. So whatever the network we have, do show IP interface brief. So we have two network over here, 192.168.1.0 and other network is 172.16.1.0. So we need to configure exchange these network. So I would run the command network 192.168.1.0 0.0.0.255. This is wildcard mask. And another network which I just want to share with my neighbor router, which is 172.16.1.0 and 0.0.0.255 is a subnet mask. Let's save this to WR. And similarly, if I would enable routing on another machine, which is this one, another router. So yes, they should be able to communicate to each other. Okay, so router EICRP 100 and network 10.0.0.0 0.0.0.255 and the other network 172.16.1.0 0.0.0.255. So both network has been added, and you can see that neighbor relationship has been up. And if I show you the neighbor of EIGRP and routing table, so let me just show you first routing table. Let me just exit from here. If I run command show IP route, I should be able to see show IP route. You can see here D. I'm learning the network 1.0 from the router which is having IP 172.16.1. So this router got the IP 172.16.1.1. So you know this network, this segment is being learned from this router to this router, okay, using this interface gig 0/1. Okay, so now neighbor relationship has been established. So if I try to show you the ping again, they should be able to ping right now. Okay, that means there is a reachability between these two segments. So this is what router does. Router just make sure that the communication between two different subnets should happen. Okay, that is one thing. And the other thing, it makes sure that it should be happen using best path. Okay, so if you have multiple routers in the network, okay, so it would always choose a best path for the communication. Okay, so I'm just going to show you some packets because right now, you know, communication has been established, and that's why it is just showing this. Okay, meanwhile this is showing some error. This is not error, but this is the warning. So one warning is one of the duplex is mismatching, so I'm just going to remove these errors for now. So interface gig 0/1 duplex full, and other error, it is showing that on this gigabit Ethernet 0/0 EIGRP is enabled. So you can see here on this interface gig 0/0 on this router, we don't need to enable EIGRP because further we don't have any router, right? So if we don't have any router, that means this router is not going to create any neighbor relationship with this particular PC. So I can disable this, okay, so that you know, it don't show the error. So let me just go and disable it. So conf router EIGRP 100 and passive interface gig 0/0. That's it. I won't be getting any further warning. And similarly, I would go to another router on this router, and let me just disable those warnings. Interface gig 0/0. Duplex full. And further, I would go and disable EIGRP router. EIGRP 100 passive interface gig 0/0. Okay, one thing I would just highlight over here, when you enable EIGRP to these devices, so they would start sending hello messages, different types of routing updates and the hello message, etc. Okay, so if you want to check that what are the hello messages, okay, what is the um, who is the neighbor of this router, so you can run few commands. So I'm just going to tell you first the neighbor, and after that I would try to debug hello messages. So let's check this iOS router, first router, and let me show you who is the neighbor of this router. Okay, X, and here we can show neighbor, show IP EIGRP neighbors. Okay, so using this command we can see that which router is the neighbor of this one. So you can see I'm on the first router and the neighbor router is 172.16.1.2. This is the neighbor router, and how we are connecting to the neighbor using X0/1 interface. Okay, and there are the hold on, there are different timers you can see, and how long, since how long they are neighbor. So you can see they are up since 4 minutes 57 seconds. Right, so this is how you can see. Let me just show you debug packets. So if you just want to debug some of the packets, so yes, you can do that. Okay, and especially you can run EIGRP debug command not for all packet, but you can run for a specific packet as well. So I'm just going to show you, because in every 5 minutes they are sending hello messages to each other. Okay, so that they should be able to check that whether they are live or not. So what we can do, we can run few command to debug this. So there is a command debug EIGRP packet, and either you can run this much, or there are another command. You can see that these are the packet types we have. Okay, hello messages, query message, request, reply, etc. So what you can do, if you just want to debug all the packets, so I've just run all, and this is debugging all the packets. So you can see hello messages, you can see after a few time you would see the query messages, etc. Okay, so for example, if I just turn off this interface of the router, sorry, this interface gig 0/ of this router. So yes, it is just going to show you some on the debug nodes. It's going to show you that neighbor is down. So let me just turn off this router gig 0/0 packet. In this space gig 0/1 packet, shut, and you would see that neighbor connectivity would have down. So here it has started sending. This is hello messages right now. This is sending but not receiving anything. Okay, you can see here. And now what it is showing, that peer has been lost. So it sends 5 hello packets, and now it's showing that there is no peer. Okay, so this is what we can do if we just want to do troubleshoot. Okay, so yes, we can do the troubleshooting, that for what reason EIGRP neighbor relationship is not getting up. So that, yes, that you can do. Let me just turn on that interface using no shut command. And now you would see here that it would be receiving that, yeah, neighbor relationship has been found, and you can see they have exchanged their neighbor tables. So this is what you can run the debug command. If you just want to stop this, so you can run u all undebug all, u space all. So this is going to turn off all the debug. And if you just want to check for a specific packet, so you can just run for a specific packet. So I'm just running for the hello packet only. So now it would be showing that it has received the hello, sending the hello message, receiving the hello messages. So this is doing in each 5 seconds. Okay, so this is just a small demo. Let me just stop this. If you have any question, please ask me. No question? All right, so I'm just stopping here and hope soon that we will see you in the class. Thank you so much for joining this demo. Have a nice day. Bye.